All right, so we're back for another deep dive,
Yes.
and today it's crypto.
Yeah.
And we've got a whole bunch of stuff from crypto gurus. We've got articles, we've got headlines.
Lots to dig into.
Yeah, and I mean, right off the bat, Bitcoin's like right around $70,000. It's kind of teasing us.
Yeah.
Then we've got like 220 pro-crypto candidates just won elections
Wow.
in the US. And then like Solana, which everyone knows from, all those meme coins,
Yeah.
is now attracting serious money.
Institutional investors.
Yeah. So
That's wild.
it's a lot.
It is.
Huh.
Yeah, it really shows how dynamic this whole landscape is.
Yeah.
All these things that seem like they're separate stories are actually all kind of connected.
Okay, so let's start with Bitcoin. Right now, Crypto Guru has it at what? Like $73,789.77. And like some of these articles are saying it's going to hit $90,000.
Right.
Like, are we supposed to believe that, or is that just hype?
It's Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Historically during U.S. elections, it goes crazy.
Oh, right, yeah.
I mean, remember all the fluctuations in the past. And this time, you've got these Bitcoin whales. The people holding huge amounts.
Yeah.
They're just kind of sitting tight, waiting to see what happens after the election.
So they're going to wait to see like how things shake out before they make a move?
Exactly.
But wouldn't all these like pro-crypto people winning elections, that's got to be a good sign.
It is a positive indicator for sure.
Yeah.
But you also have to remember that $70,000 has historically been a really tough barrier for Bitcoin to break through.
Huh.
So there's this tension between all the optimism and the reality of the market.
Okay, so Bitcoin is Bitcoin. It's going to do its own thing.
Always.
What about like Ethereum's at what, $622.18? And then there's Solana? Like from meme coins to serious investors.
Right.
Crazy.
It's an interesting shift.
Yeah.
It seems like they're transitioning from being all about like fun and games to actually attracting some heavy hitters who see the potential. Like the tech behind Solana is all about speed and low costs, which is really appealing to these bigger investors.
Okay, so does that mean like Solana's going to take over Ethereum? Is this like a crypto showdown or something?
I don't think it's as simple as one taking over the other.
Okay.
There are articles talking about how Ethereum has been struggling with its price recently, but also predicting that its price could explode in the future.
Oh, wow.
At the same time, Solana has a lot going for it, the tech we talked about, and a really active community.
Right.
So I think it's more about a competition for dominance in the long run.
Okay, that's interesting. So Bitcoin is a question mark. Ethereum and Solana are battling it out.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of, these broader applications of blockchain, there's this article about the SEC and OpenSea.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're saying that OpenSea might be treating NFTs like securities.
Right.
And why is that such a big deal? Like, why is everyone making a fuss about this?
Well, this is a sign that the SEC is really starting to pay attention. Like, they're saying, hey, this whole crypto party is happening on our turf, and there need to be some rules.
No.
The big question is, are NFTs actually securities?
Like, are they more like stocks and bonds?
Yeah, exactly. And if they are, then that means a whole other level of regulation could be coming. Basically a warning shot. The regulators are starting to flex their muscles and apply existing rules to this new world.
Okay, so that's a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it definitely raises some questions.
Okay, so the SEC coming after OpenSea. You mentioned the shows they're starting to apply existing rules to this new world. Could you unpack that a bit more? What kinds of rules are we talking about, and how might they affect things like NFTs?
Well, you gotta think of it this way, right? The SEC, their main goal is to protect investors and keep the markets fair. And they have all these rules for how traditional financial stuff works, like stocks and bonds. So now they're looking at NFTs and trying to figure out if those same rules apply, or if they need like a whole new set of regulations just for NFTs.
So if they decide NFTs are securities, what could that mean for, platforms like OpenSea or even individual creators and collectors?
Oh, it could be huge. Imagine every time someone wants to launch an NFT, they have to go through this big, complicated registration process like a company going public.
Right.
That could add a ton of time and cost to creating and selling NFTs. And we might see stricter rules on how you can even market and sell them, and maybe even who can buy and sell them.
Wow, so the stakes are pretty high here. This OpenSea case could really change things for the whole NFT world.
Absolutely. This is a big test case, and whatever happens could set the standard for how NFTs are regulated for years to come.
Okay, so we've got Bitcoin doing its unpredictable thing, Ethereum and Solana duking it out, and now all this uncertainty around NFTs and regulations. Is there anywhere in the crypto world where you can find a little bit of peace of mind, like anything that's not a total roller coaster?
Well, Cardano seems to be holding pretty steady. It's at, what, 0.358886 right now?
Yeah.
And some articles are even suggesting it could hit 50 cents soon.
Okay, so maybe not a total roller coaster. But what's different about Cardano? We talked about how they're focused on those real-world applications and partnering with governments and stuff. But how does that actually make it more stable?
It's all about building trust.
Yeah.
Right? And showing that they're in it for the long haul. Instead of all the hype and trying to make a quick buck, Cardano's really focusing on building a solid foundation for blockchain technology.
Okay.
Partnering with governments and institutions shows they're serious about solving real problems. And that attracts a different type of investor, someone who's not just looking for a quick profit.
So less about speculation, more about actually using a technology. Like they're saying, hey, we're building something real here.
Yeah, exactly. And that commitment to the long-term vision can create a sense of stability, even in a market as crazy as crypto.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. So let's talk about some of these other headlines on Crypto Guru. There's one about a Zanzibar blockchain sandbox, which sounds kind of intriguing. And then there's another about the integration of Chainlink price feeds, which honestly, I have no idea what that even means. What's the connection there?
Well, these might seem like random stories, but they actually point to a bigger trend. It's like the whole world is starting to get interested in blockchain, and not just for cryptocurrency.
So it's spreading out into all these other areas and applications.
Exactly. So think of the Zanzibar blockchain sandbox like a testing ground. The government there is basically creating a safe space where blockchain startups can experiment and try new things and figure out how this technology can be used for real-world problems.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about Chainlink price feeds? Can you break that down for me?
Sure. Imagine you're building a decentralized financial application, like maybe a lending platform or a prediction market. These apps need real-world data to work, like asset prices or interest rates. But how do you get that data onto the blockchain in a way that's secure and reliable? That's where Chainlink comes in.
So Chainlink is like the bridge between the real world and the blockchain world.
Exactly. They provide these things called price feeds, which are basically real-time data feeds that are super secure. This means that the data being used by these blockchain applications is accurate and trustworthy, which is essential for building anything reliable.
Wow, so Chainlink is kind of working behind the scenes to make everything run smoothly.
Exactly. And as blockchain becomes more widely used for more complex stuff, the importance of having these reliable data feeds, like the ones Chainlink provides, is only going to increase.
It's crazy how all these different pieces fit together. We've got Bitcoin doing its own thing, Ethereum and Solana going head-to-head, Cardano taking the slow and steady approach, and then these underlying trends like the Zanzibar sandbox and Chainlink price feeds, which show how blockchain is becoming more mainstream. It's a lot to keep track of.
It really highlights how dynamic this whole space is. It's a wild ride, that's for sure.
But with all this talk about governments and institutions getting involved, it makes me wonder, is that ultimately a good thing or a bad thing for crypto? Will all these regulations just stifle innovation? Or will they actually create the stability that crypto needs to be adopted more widely?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And there are really strong arguments on both sides. Some people think that too much regulation could kill what makes crypto so special in the first place, the decentralized kind of rebellious spirit.
Yeah, like they're afraid it's going to lose that Wild West feel that drew so many people to it in the beginning.
Right. But then there's the other side of the argument, which says that having clear rules is actually essential for building trust and attracting more mainstream investors. They think that regulation could actually help crypto reach its full potential.
So it's like a trade-off between preserving that decentralized nature and creating the conditions for mass adoption.
Exactly. And it's a tough balance to strike. Too much regulation could stifle innovation and alienate the early adopters who really believe in the power of decentralization. But too little regulation could lead to instability, fraud, and a lack of trust, which would ultimately prevent crypto from becoming more widely accepted.
It feels like we're at a crossroads, and the decisions that are made in the next few years could really determine the future of crypto.
Absolutely. And the fact that we're even having these conversations shows how much of an impact crypto and blockchain are already having. They're forcing us to rethink our traditional financial systems, challenge the way we think about power, and explore entirely new ways of organizing ourselves. And we're really just at the beginning of this journey, so it's going to be incredibly interesting to see where it all goes.
It really does feel like we're on the verge of something big here. So for our listeners who are maybe just starting to explore crypto, what's the one thing they should keep in mind?
I think approach crypto with a mix of, curiosity and caution. It's exciting. There's a ton of potential, but you got to remember the risks too. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely not about chasing, whatever the hot new meme coin is.
Right.
It's more about, really understanding what's going on, under the hood.
Absolutely. Take some time to learn about how the technology works, who the different players are, and, like we talked about, the regulations. That whole landscape is constantly changing.
Right, and it can feel overwhelming, but there's a lot of help out there, right? Like websites like Crypto Guru, all those online communities, there are platforms where you can actually learn about this stuff.
Yeah, tons of resources, and a lot of people in the crypto community are really happy to share what they know and help people who are just getting started.
Okay, so this has been a great deep dive. We've covered so much, from Bitcoin's price swings to what's going on with Solana, the SEC, and NFTs, and then just the bigger picture of how blockchain is being used. It seems like crypto and blockchain are here to stay. So as our listeners keep learning about all this, is there one last thought you want to leave them with?
I think the main takeaway from all these articles and headlines is that crypto and blockchain are changing things. They're disrupting industries and changing how we think about finance, technology, even governance. And the big question now is, will all this interest from governments and big institutions help crypto grow, or will it get bogged down by regulations?
It's like we said, it feels like we're at a crossroads.
Exactly.
Okay.
Only time will tell. But it's going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so exciting.
Definitely.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. And remember, knowledge is power in the crypto world, so keep learning, stay curious, and, maybe we'll all be on the moon someday.
Maybe.